How's it everyone? Today I'm here with my WWE SummerSlam 2018 pay-per-view. Of course, SummerSlam aired live on the WWE Network as well as pay-per-view tonight. And overall, I gotta say, coming out of SummerSlam, I thought it was actually a very good show. I was actually pleasantly surprised at how well I enjoyed the show. It was over 4 hours, but it didn't seem that long. It obviously felt like 4 hours, but like most of the stuff wasn't bad. There wasn't really anything that bad on the show. There were a lot of questionable things they did in terms of like finishes and the way some of the matches went. Besides that, I felt like SummerSlam was a good, enjoyable, fun show. You had some good moments. You had some great markout moments as well. And yeah, I just thought it was a good, solid pay-per-view. Definitely delivered big time. Like I said, going to my prediction video, like going into this pay-per-view, I didn't care for it. I thought it was like a lackluster card and didn't have any hype behind it. But come out of it, I did enjoy it. And I guess it's that's kind of what happens when you have low expectations. That you kind of get surprised and you kind of enjoy it more than you would think you would. So SummerSlam for me, it's a thumbs up. I enjoy, like I said, one of the better pay-per-views of the year, if you ask me. Before we get to the main show, of course, we had the 2-hour kickoff show 2 hours prior to the pay-per-view, which featured 3 matches on there. Of course, we had the mixed tag team match between Rusev and Lana taking on Andrade, Cien, Almas, and Zelina and Vega. Not much happened in that match, just very, very whatever. Rusev and Andrade had a quick exchange at the beginning, and then, of course, Zelina and Lana tagged in and had their pretty much, their exchange throughout the rest of the match. Rusev and Andrade pretty much brawled on the outside. Not Rusev, Lana and just Zelina I don't need to see those two go at it ever again. They're just not good, I'll just say that. But ending came, Rusev was on the ropes, Lana went to swing, missed the first time, her and Zelina went at it, and then of course Lana got back, slapped him again when she tried to lock in the accolade, slapped Andrade and Almas, and then of course Zelina comes out of nowhere with one of the worst ropes of all time. Steve Austin had a better rope on Owen Hart at SummerSlam 1997 than Zelina did at Lana here, so I'll just say that. So yeah, Andrade and Zelina win, whatever there. Then we go to the WWE Cruiserweight Championship Match between Cedric, Alexander, and Drew Gulak. This was a good, solid match here, but not really much to it. I felt like they just didn't really kick out of that gear they should have. There were some, towards the end it got good. You had some good spots as well. Like, you had Cedric Alexander do a great, Spanish fly on to Drew Gulak. He had Drew Gulak locking the Gulak lock through the ropes, which I thought was great. And then, but he didn't really capitalize on that. And you had some nice exchanges and you had some nice cradles, which cradles were actually what led to the finish. Roll-up finish with Cedric Alexander retaining the championship, which I was very disappointed in because I really wanted Drew Gulak to win this match. I feel like it's his time to win it, but, Alexander retains. They did a finish where they can obviously continue the feud, so I didn't mind that really that much at all. But, yeah, just a very underwhelming match. Not really too much happening. It was good, but could have been light years better if you ask me. Then, of course, with the Raw Tag Team Championship match, the B Team taking on the Revival. Not much here to say about it. Revival, right from the get-go, actually hit the Shadow Machine on Curtis Axel, and they pretty much dominated Bo Dallas, worked on his leg throughout the entire match, basically. Then, of course, they did the whole bullshit finish. Pretty much the exact same finish they did with the Leaders of Worlds when they retained the tag team titles because weeks ago on Raw, where I think Curtis actually got pushed into Bo Dallas while Dash had Bo Pin, and of course flipped over, rolled up, which Bo Dallas ended up getting the rope victory on Revival. So basic finish to a basic match, not much to it. So the kickoff show, really not too much, not really anything that noteworthy happened on it, but if anything, I'll check out the Cruiserweight title match. It's not that good. I wouldn't recommend going away to see it, but if you're going to check anything out, definitely that match of everything. Then, of course, going to the main show, which opened up with the Intercontinental Championship match between Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins. This match was good, and that's all it was to me. I thought it was just good, and it had a lot of time, and there was too many rest holds. I feel like they were doing a lot of what they did in their Iron Man match, which was just not really much of anything. They had some basic maneuvers. You had Seth Rollins getting his signature stuff like the blockbuster, which Seth Rollins just on fire towards the end of the match, especially the last couple minutes of this match were absolutely great. But besides that, the majority of the match, just whatever, it was just there. Like I said, rest holds. I liked what Drew McIntyre and Dean Ambrose had to offer. Every time McIntyre would try to interfere, Ambrose would kind of pretty much get in his business, and I thought the stare down those two had, where pretty much Ambrose got in his face, was actually really well done. So I actually really enjoyed that part of the match as well. But Seth Rollins, like I said, was on fire. He actually did an inverted superplex at the top rope on Dolph Ziggler, followed through with like a DDT sidewalk slam kind of, which I thought was a great follow-up. That was a great spot right there. The crowd's losing their absolute minds for that one. And of course, like I said, the finish was really hot. McIntyre tried to get involved, which led to Ziggler hitting the zigzag on Rollins, which was a nice near fall right there. Rollins actually got busted open when Ziggler pretty much threw him into the turnbuckle, which led to the zigzag. So Rollins was bleeding at that point. McIntyre tried to get involved once again once Rollins was getting the upper hand. Ambrose was able to annihilate, well, not annihilate, but pretty much, take care of McIntyre, Dirty Deeds of McIntyre on the outside, which was able to allow Rollins to hit a super kick on Dolph Ziggler, who was setting up for a super kick. Ziggler was waiting for him to turn around, but Rollins hit him first, followed by the curb stomp for the 1-2-3 victory. So Seth Rollins is a brand new Intercontinental Champion. Like I said, I thought it was a good match, but nothing really much there too. It wasn't a must-see or it wasn't a show-stealing match, so it was just that, just a basic plain wrestling match from those two. And then, of course, from there, I'm going to the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. Of course, the Bludgeon Brothers are fighting against the New Day. This was a very good sprint right here. I thought both teams worked very hard, and this is probably the best Bludgeon Bludgeon Brothers match we've gotten so far, since they've been known as the Bludgeon Brothers, of course. I just thought they worked very well. Xavier Woods played his part well. You know, he was pretty much, you know, the sacrificial lamb. The Bludgeon Brothers, you know, they're trying to recreate the Fastlane spot where they powerbomb him onto the steel steps, fly out of it. Did some great stuff. Actually isolated Harper to the part where he had an awesome elbow drop from the top rope to the outside onto Luke Harper, which I thought was a great spot right there. At that point, it looked like the New Day were actually going to win. They're set up for the Midnight Hour, but of course, you know, Bludgeon Brothers take control. Big E hit his signature spear on the outside. They pretty much took out Rowan, and looked to the point where New Day were going to win the tag team titles, but of course, you know, Rowan ended up taking one of the mallets and ended up hitting Big E with it to prevent, or Xavier Woods, one of the two, ended up hitting one of them with it to cause disqualification. So the New Day win this match via disqualification, but the Bludgeon Brothers are still the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So this feud's obviously going to continue, which I don't want to see it continue because I really don't want the New Day to become the Tag Team Champions again, because New Day, I'm so over them being as Tag Team Champions, especially with the SmackDown Live Tag Team division. New Day has literally faced all those tag teams for the Raw Tag Team titles, you know, like years ago. So I really don't want to see New Day as Tag Team Champions again, because there's really nothing fresh you can do with those two. You know, they just did the Sanity feud, so you can't do that. You know, they face Gallows and Anderson, they face the Bar. There's literally the Usos. You know, they've literally faced every team, so there's really nothing exciting to get behind a New Day tag team title reign again. But like I said, I thought the match was very good, better than the opener, and I really enjoyed it. So like I said, good stuff there. Just wasn't a fan of the DQ finish. From there, we go to the Money in the Bank contract match. Of course, Braun Strowman taking on Kevin Owens. This was a complete squash. It was Braun Strowman literally just demolishing Kevin Owens. He did the spot where he just shoulder blocked him into the barricade, choke slammed him onto the steel steps, or not steel steps, but the ramp, threw him in the ring, power slam, 1, 2, 3, and that was it. Braun Strowman absolutely squashed Kevin Owens like that, and it was at the point where I just laughed. I couldn't believe what I just saw. It was laughable, and I love Kevin Owens, and I hate that he's treated the way he was, but it was just laughable. All the hype and that build, especially the stipulation, just to do that kind of finish. I don't know, especially considering after that, I thought for sure, okay, Strowman's walking out of the show champion, because there's no way he's not winning the title after that performance, considering he just squashed Kevin Owens, but was I wrong about that? But yeah, Kevin Owens getting squashed, felt bad for the guy, but, you know, I guess they want to make Braun Strowman look good, so that's what they did. From there, we go to the triple threat match for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Carmella defending against Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. I thought this was a very good match as well. I actually really enjoyed this one. It's probably the second, or this is probably the women's match I've enjoyed the most since the Asuka Charlotte Flair match from WrestleMania 34. I just thought it was very well done. I mean, there was some sloppiness in this match, especially from Charlotte, who I won't even begin the rant the fact that she, spoiler alert, won the fucking match and title. But she just came off very sloppy, and, you know, she didn't really seem like she was all there in the match. But, you know, of course, you got the double team with Becky and Charlotte. You know, Carmella actually played a role very well. You know, even though Carmella was shit-talking like she usually does, I thought she was able to showcase herself in a better spot. I thought she did her, you know, she came off a lot more smoother. Her wrestling just came off a lot more better than her usual matches. But, you know, early on, you know, Carmella slapped Becky in the back of the head, and pretty much Charlotte got the blame for it, so that began the tension right there. Charlotte at one point accidentally booted Becky Lynch when Carmella got out of the way, so that was that. They did a nice spot where Carmella did a suicide dive on the outside Becky Lynch, which got followed up with Charlotte Flair doing the corkscrew moonsault off the top of the outside, which she completely missed them, by the way. I mean, she might have hit Becky, but she completely missed Carmella, so I just thought that was just, I don't know, I wasn't a fan of it. But of course, you know, Becky and Carmella in the ring. Carmella almost had Becky a handful of times. You know, Becky was trying to lock in this armor, hit the exploders, had this armor one more time on Carmella, but as she had this armor locked in, Charlotte Flair came out of nowhere, hit the natural selection, and pinned Becky Lynch for the 1, 2, 3 to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. Very pissed off Charlotte won the title first off, because I'm fucking sick and tired of Charlotte. She's shoved down her throat way worse than Roman Reigns is, so Charlotte can fuck off, but she wins it. I'm more pissed that Carmella lost because, well, I'm not really pissed that Carmella lost. I'm just pissed that Charlotte won. You know, I honestly feel like Carmella should have retained here to cause more tension between Becky and Charlotte. Then, of course, do the match at Evolution. But they didn't do that. Charlotte just won flat out, and she's champion. But after the fact, they played the whole thing where her and Becky were embracing each other. They were happy. Like, oh, yeah, we did this, and blah. And then, of course, Becky Lynch turns in Charlotte. She beats the fuck out of Charlotte, throws her to the announce table, and just beats the shit out of her, and she walks away as Charlotte's crying her eyes out. So I don't know if it's an official heel turn, or I don't know if they're going to play it off for a little while. She does it, but she doesn't fully turn heel for another couple weeks, or what. But I'm very pissed off that Charlotte won. Charlotte did not need to win the championship here. I mean, if anything, they should have had her win it at Hell in a Cell, then do the Becky and Charlotte match at Evolution. But I guess they're going to do Becky, or I guess they're going to do Charlotte and Carmella at Hell in a Cell for the rematch for Carmella, then do Becky and Charlotte. But, Charlotte did not need to fucking win that championship, so I'm very irritated they gave it to her, but what can you do? She's champion. Not much more to say about that. Then, of course, we go to the WWE Championship match between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. Right from the get-go, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles' wife, and his little girl at ringside. And Samoa Joe just immediately starts saying that Daddy's coming home tonight. And then, AJ's getting pissed off. And then it's funny because AJ's getting pissed off that Joe's talking to his wife and kids. And AJ pretty much says, I'm going to kick your ass. And the first thing they do is lock up. Like, yeah, how can you threaten someone like that and then immediately just lock up with them? I didn't understand that logic at all. But AJ and Samoa Joe, I thought, had a great match here. Definitely one of the better matches. I'd say it's the second best match of the night, if you ask me. I thought they went there and had a killer match. Had some great interactions. They did some callbacks to their previous matches they had, which I thought was great. Just had some great, near falls as well. Joe, I thought Joe actually won the championship a handful of times, but he didn't. AJ is very aggressive. Of course, Joe teased the muscle buster. He actually set AJ up for a muscle buster, but ended up giving him an insecurity instead to send AJ flying to the outside. AJ took a pretty nasty bump to the outside as well. So it was a nice brawl. AJ nearly killed Joe, I thought, with the Styles Clash. It looked like AJ actually almost dumped on his head, but it's just the way the angle was. AJ actually didn't drop him on his head. It just looked like he did. So it's Styles Clash. Joe kicked out of it. Was able to lock in the calf crusher. Joe almost tapped out, but he did the whole Lesnar thing where he just took AJ's head, started bashing it into the ground to break it up. So that was great. But yeah, these two just went out there and just killed it and had an awesome match. And, pretty much exactly what I was expecting. The finish, I kind of expected this finish. I even said it on Twitter when the match started. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this match will end in a DQ. And it does. As Joe's pretty much, he throws AJ into the steel steps and gets on the table on the mic and says that, pretty much AJ's wife's gonna be calling him, or AJ's wife and his kid pretty much been calling him daddy, and that just sets AJ off. AJ just goes ballistic, tackles Joe through the barricade, takes a steel chair and hits Samoa Joe, so that causes disqualification. Joe wins the match via disqualification. AJ's just losing his shit to the point where his wife has to calm him down, and AJ just says, okay, you're right, I'm sorry, and they just walk off, and Joe's just seething. He's pissed that his opportunity was squandered like that. So obviously this feud's going to continue. It's going to go into Hell in a Cell, probably inside Hell in a Cell, considering the way AJ just beat the shit out of him, and they're making this more personal, so it definitely warrants Hell in a Cell the more personal it gets. So great match, like I said. Wasn't a fan of DQ finish, but I understand it. It's just furthering the feud, so I didn't mind it for that aspect. But yeah, definitely enjoyed AJ and Samoa Joe. Like I said, that they went there and tore the house down, and definitely enjoyed that one. After that, we actually had the Elias concert, which was absolutely nothing. It was a waste of time because Elias broke his guitar and just walked away. So that was that. Big waste of time, if you ask me. And then we go to which I thought was the match of the night, Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. I absolutely loved this match. It was better, honestly, than I probably thought it was going to be. I knew it was going to be great, but I think it beat my expectations a little bit. Right from the get-go, of course, Bryan was balling the fist up to punch Miz in the face. Miz was able to prevent it for a little bit, and then Bryan just decked him, then just grabbed Miz and just started decking him in the face. And, these two went out there and beat the shit out of each other. They were both laying their shit in. Bryan laid his chops in to the point where Miz had handprints on his chest, or it was like bleeding. Well, I don't know if he was bleeding, but he had like the marks in his chest, like Bryan had, kind of similar to what I was trying to do with the Greatest Royal Rumble. Not as bad, but it was noticeable. The kicks were stiff. They were mimicking each other where, Miz, of course, was doing the yes kicks and even lined up for the running knee, but Bryan was able to prevent it. Miz had the skull crusher finale for a nice near fall. Bryan locked in the yes lock a handful of times and almost actually submitted the Miz, but Miz was actually able to crawl to the ropes to break up the submission, so was not, submitted right there. And they told some great stories. They even did some callbacks to previous matches. Of course, the infamous Nigel spot that Miz and Bryan do where, Miz does the clothesline off the rope when Bryan's standing at the bottom of it. So I thought that was a great callback to their other matches because they did that in their Night of Champions 2010 match. I thought that was great. So yeah, just a lot of great callbacks, a lot of great hard-hitting action. And like I said, these two just beat the shit out of each other. And I was very much into it. I thought it's a great spots. Bryan, dove to the outside. Like I said, just a lot of great callbacks and just really laid their shit in. And I thought it was just absolutely awesome. No pun intended with the Miz. But finish came where Miz on the outside, Maurice kind of consulting him. And, at one point, it looks like Maurice hands him something. And she does because, Miz is at the barricade. Bryan's lined up for the suicide dive, which I don't really recall him ever doing since he's been back. I know he's on the baseball side, but I don't recall him doing the suicide dive. So Bryan's going for the suicide dive, but Miz just clocks him in the face and pins Daniel Bryan 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. So the Miz defeats Daniel Bryan, which I'm actually happy about because I do think the Miz should have won this match. You want Daniel Bryan to chase that one against the Miz, so I definitely think that was the right call. And it fit perfectly in the storyline. The whole story was Daniel Bryan wanted to punch the Miz in the face, right? and the finish was The Miz punching Daniel Bryan in the face. Very poetic and perfect ending, if you ask me. And of course, Miz threw the brass knucks back to Maurice before he pinned Daniel Bryan, so the evidence was never there. But yeah, The Miz defeats Daniel Bryan. I don't know if they'll have the Hell in a Cell match, which is wishful thinking, but I really do want to see them drag this out to WrestleMania. I really do think these two can make WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. So I don't think they'll go in that route, but I definitely think the potential is definitely there. But yeah, The Miz wins, and it's definitely going to continue the feud, so I'm very excited to see where it goes going forward. So yeah, like I said, match tonight if you ask me. From there I'm going to go to, which we thought was going to be Finn Balor versus Consul Baron Corbin. But Baron Corbin comes out, and who comes out to greet him? The fucking Demon. The Demon Finn Balor makes his return for the first time since TLC last year when he faced AJ Styles. Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. And it was a great surprise. I know some people are like, what a waste of a Demon. But honestly, the Demon should be something that just happens. It shouldn't be something that we should expect to happen. It should just be random. And, I thought it played out. It was a great surprise, I thought. And I didn't have any complaints about it. I thought, the match was exactly what it should have been. With the Demon, Balor just squashed Corbin, hit sling blades, drop kicks, and coup de grace. And that was all she wrote. Finn Balor, squashes Baron Corbin just as quickly as Braun Strowman squashed Kevin Owens, and I didn't mind it at all. So Demon was a nice surprise, and I thought it worked perfectly. That's how they should be building Finn Balor. Finn Balor should just be a fucking badass like that and beating the shit out of the guys. That's what they should have been doing since he returned last year. But I guess this could be a start, but I don't see them continuing that trend of pushing Balor like that. But yeah, it was a great surprise, and I definitely enjoyed it for what it was. From there, we go to the United States Championship match, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jeff Hardy. This was a good match here. I thought playing off, Jeff Hardy and Hardy mocking each other with, Jeff Hardy doing the Nakamura dance and the come on thing. I thought that was great. But, it was very basic stuff, not really too much. Hardy was able to counter some stuff Nakamura was doing. Threw Nakamura off a handful of times. Nakamura, Hardy had to twist of fate and set up for the Swanton. He actually hit the Swanton, but, Nakamura rolled out of the ring, but he didn't roll out of the ring, he rolled on the apron, and then Jeff Hardy, being the fucking madman that he is, goes for a swanton off the top onto the apron, but of course Nakamura rolls out of the way. Hardy eats absolute shit, just pretty much power bombs himself onto the apron. Nakamura throws it back in. I believe Nakamura does like an inverted suplex, or he may have not done anything at all. No, I think he did the kick to the back of the head, followed by the Kinshasa. That's what he did. The kick to the back of the head, and then the Kinshasa, 1, 2, 3, Nakamura retains the United States Championship. Like I said, that was a good match. Not as good as I was hoping, but I enjoyed it for what it was still. I thought, like I said, they did some good stuff with the, the characters. Of course, Jeff Hardy mimicking him, and then I thought they had some good chain wrestling as well in this match. But of course, after the match, pretty much repeat Extreme Rules. Orton's music hits, Orton comes out, but then he walks right straight to the back. So Orton doesn't even attack Hardy, he just looks at him and just walks back. So that was that. But yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. And of course, backstage, we had Daniel Bryan backstage being consulted by Brie Bella, him just being pissed off. So, I'm not sure if they're going to involve Brie and Maurice in this feud and do a mixed tag in the future or what, but they definitely kind of hinted at that. So that was that. And then, of course, go to the Raw Women's Championship match. Of course, Ronda Rousey taking on Alexa Bliss and challenging her for the championship. Natalya came out to support her, which I thought was good. And the Bellas were at ringside. They did a backstage skit in the show where they announced they're going to be at ringside for this match for whatever fucking reason. So they were at ringside. Natalya was there, and Alexa Bliss faced Ronda Rousey one-on-one. No one was in Alexa's corner. Not Alicia Fox and Mickie James. It was just her. And, it was a match. It was pretty much an extended squash. Alexa Bliss ran. Ronda pretty much just, Samoan dropped a handful of times, do the judo throws multiple times, and it was pretty much just, talking to the crowd. So like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm next to Roman's champion. Oh, you want me to do it? She did the whole thing where she bent Alexa's arm, looked like she broke it, because of course, Alexa Bliss is double jointed, so her arm just bent backwards, looked like she actually broke it. So, Ronda was pretty much just playing the crowd and just toying with Alexa Bliss until she finally decided to lock in the armbar, and Alexa Bliss immediately taps out. So Ronda Rousey is a brand new Raw Women's Champion. I thought it was a cool moment for her. I know a lot of people hated the match. The match itself, I was expecting a good match, and it really wasn't. It was just a squash, but it was a cool moment for Ronda Rousey. I know a lot of people are upset about her winning the championship, or at least some of the people I saw, but I felt like it was a cool moment for her, especially her and her husband afterwards. So that was a really cool moment for them. And then, of course, in the ring, you had Natalya and the Bellas both come in and celebrate with her. So, I don't know, I don't think that moment was needed, especially the Bellas. They really have no connection to Ronda Rousey. I know the whole rumor now is that it's going to be Ronda versus Nikki at Evolution for the main event. But that's not how you build it. You don't have Nikki celebrating the ring with her. I don't know. To me, that didn't do anything, and it was very unnecessary. So, yeah, Ronda Rousey, your brand new Raw Women's Champion, and that's all she wrote. And then, of course, go to our main event, which was the Universal Championship match. Brock Lesnar defending against Roman Reigns. Of course, before the match even starts, Braun's music hits, and he comes out and pretty much says, listen, I'm going to stand right here, because whoever the fuck wins, you're facing me next. And he stands there, the match starts, Lesnar's kind of staring at Strowman like, fuck you, turns around right into, I believe, like 2 or 3 Superman punches, Roman Reigns spears him 3 times, and I'm thinking at this point, they're going to have fucking Roman Reigns squash Brock Lesnar. Fucking genius, that's what they should be doing. But of course, after the 3rd spear, Brock locks him into a guillotine, so that doesn't really do anything. You know, Roman tries to fight out of it, actually gives Brock a spine buster at one point. To break it up, Brock goes into German suplex mode, suplexes Roman Reigns, you know, a handful of times. I don't think Brock actually had an F5 on Roman. I think he went for it, but Roman got out of it and speared him, and then went for another spear, but, you know, Brock actually dodged it, so Roman went flying through the ropes, actually had a suicide dive on the Strowman, which I thought was hilarious, and then Lesnar went to the outside, ended up beating up Strowman with the Money in the Bank briefcase. No, he hit an F5 on Strowman first, then he ended up beating up Strowman with the briefcase. Through the briefcase, on the stage ramp, took a steel chair, started beating Strowman some more with the chair, got back in the ring, went to swing the chair at Roman Reigns, but of course, as he went to swing, Roman Reigns hits a huge spear on Brock Lesnar, and 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns, after 3 fucking years, ever since WrestleMania 31, finally defeats Brock Lesnar. After 4 matches with Brock Lesnar, 5 including the Fatal 4 from last year's SummerSlam, 5 matches they've been involved in, Roman Reigns finally wins the big one and defeats Brock Lesnar. And I didn't even think about this until someone put it on Twitter, Ross, that WWE was fucking smart. They sent Braun out there so the fans wouldn't hijack it because they would think Strowman's going to cash in. Roman wins, and before the crowd realizes that the cash is not happening to boo it, they cut the feed. Because it was like probably a minute after Roman won that they cut the feed for the show, because they knew the boos were going to come once they realized Braun wasn't cashing in. So Roman Reigns, new Universal Champion. He was talking a lot of shit that Paul Heyman too after the match, which I thought was hilarious. But, yeah, it happened. Personally, I wouldn't have gave Roman the championship. I think Braun should have walked out champion. But I think it's a good chance Braun wins the title tomorrow. You know, Lesnar is advertised for Raw tomorrow night, so good chance Lesnar shows up, F5's, you know, Roman, and then Braun cashes in. I think that's a good chance of that happening. Will it? I'm not sure. But, you know, Brock Lesnar potentially done. Who knows? Roman Reigns finally was Universal Champion, finally defeated Brock Lesnar. So, yeah, the championship is no longer hostage, and we finally have a full-time champion on Monday Night Raw. So that's the only really exciting thing about it. But match itself, I didn't hate it. You know, it was only 5 minutes or so you can't really hate a 5-minute match. But it was better than WrestleMania match. I'll tell you that right now. It was better than the 5 minutes that I got. But yeah, like I said, I thought SummerSlam this year was very good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show. There wasn't really too much to complain about. You know, the squashes that we got were actually great squashes because, you know, the Demon one was a great surprise. You know, you can say the main event was pretty much a squash, kind of in a way. You know, Ronda toying with Alexa wasn't ideal, but, you know, it was what it was. Strowman beating Owens in a squash, to me, was just absolutely hilarious. And then you got 2 great matches. You know, you got Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, so tear the house down. And, of course, you got Bryan and The Miz, who beat the fuck out of each other, which I absolutely loved every second of. So, SummerSlam gets a thumbs up from me. I honestly did enjoy the show. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like below. And, yeah, if you guys would like in the comment section, go ahead and feel free to leave your guys' thoughts to SummerSlam as well. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. I don't know why I was looking over here for. I'm looking at the button to stop the recording instead of at that actual camera. I apologize for that. But, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please leave a like below. And as always, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching the video.